Well, dozens of Bach dwellers are setting up in downtown Champaign, in our back lot and in Farmer City. Drew Wilder experienced one winter night, though, all the way back in 2012.
Yeah, Drew captured his evening on the street that he says was cold, rainy, spiritual, and inspiring.
Melanie Jackson is living and breathing her work as the chairperson of See You at Home. She's assembled many to help her help many.
People are passing out coffee and hot chocolate. They're cheering each other up. They're trying to stay warm together. They've even made some little neighborhoods. Like these guys here, they're a neighborhood, which is pretty cool. This really started with God pricking my heart back in the spring, and I ended up selling most of my belongings and quitting most of my jobs, all of my paid jobs, and to try and get some of the folks on the street under a roof.
After selling her possessions and her home, she moved into Restoration Urban Ministries and now works tirelessly to find a warm place for the homeless in Champaign County.
John, did you need me?
Long before this event began, and even before See You at Home, Melanie was inspired by like-minded volunteers already making a difference.
Yeah, this is my friend Barb Davies, and she and her husband started this particular ministry, the Canteen Run, about 7 years ago. We go out 3 nights a week now and take a sack lunch. We've got blankets and socks and underwear, hygiene products to folks right where they are when they need it. And like I said, it's been a very big part of my life and what God used to prompt me to start See You at Home, because I was meeting the folks on the street, and it's like somebody's got to do something else about this, and that's kind of how See You at Home was born.
Fast forward to one winter night. Myself and 25 others sleeping outside in downtown Champaign in a box to raise money for See You at Home.
Do you want it to go to me being in a box?
Yeah.
Okay, let's let Jason will help you do it, actually. That's awesome. He'll get it in an envelope for you.
For every $100 a participant raises, they earn another hour in their box. The goal is to have all 26 participants raise $1,000 each.
It started out as an idea for a radio promotion, and the station wasn't interested in doing it. What we were going to do was have folks, just families, spend the night out in their front yard and then consider donating their power bill for that month. That failed because the station didn't want to do it. Then we wanted to use Westside Park and get some public figures, but also get the public to come out with us, maybe do tents, and the park district wouldn't allow us to use their property. Then the city said, well, if you have just a few people, we can let you use downtown. So that's how this evolved.
Which is really a blessing in disguise. The busiest part of town is flooded with participants and volunteers. Politicians,
donations,
pastors, and veterans.
Please give to our homeless. All right, he's getting us some statistics.
He was homeless for 2 months when he came back from Iraq. And now
there are so many vets. There are so many vets.
75,000. 10,000 from the guys returning right now.
That is a national tragedy.
Businessmen and athletes.
I think I'm sleeping in the middle. Pastor Grogan's here on the left. He said he snores a little bit, so I had to cover my ears, and Jason here on the right.
And kids who, even at their age, get it.
We already reached our goal, and I'm thinking that we want to do more.
That's awesome, Peter. And there are some families that don't have a home. Some people that stay in their car. Some people even that have to stay in a tent. Stuff like that.
Doesn't sound like fun.
It doesn't sound like fun at all.
Well, it would be, if they did have a home, it would be fun to do this for like one day or so.
One day.
Would it be fun to do it every day for the homeless?
Not every day. You're right. And we're going to have, you know, like you said, one night of this. But some people that do it every day, I just can't really even imagine what that would be like. Cold and rain and snow and ice and everything.
Well, good thing there are shelters for them.
Yeah, there are shelters. One of the problems is the shelters are full almost all the time, and they have to turn some people away.
And the worst thing about it is when they turn people away, it's pretty sad.
It is. It's really sad. Peter, I'm so glad that you and your mom are out here helping us with this. If the community doesn't understand homelessness, they're not going to get behind any agency supporting it. It's an emotional issue. You have to understand that it's a real human being on the other side of the eyes that they kind of look away from on the street sometimes, and I'm guilty of that. I have done that just like you have. Once they begin to understand that that's a person with a real story and a real life, and that God loves them just as much as He loves me and wants them to be cared for, that is what See You at Home is about.
I sat down with my neighbor for a night just before we turned in.
See, I know we were talking earlier, you know, we're just obviously hardly roughing it out here. We've got some nice clothes and we've got some people bringing us coffee and stuff, you know, to keep us warm. But we can still kind of get a taste. I mean, this is not pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. We've only been out here for like 5 hours.
I definitely agree, Drew. You know, we're doing this one time, you know, to raise money for the awareness for the homeless, and to imagine that these people are staying out here and living in this kind of atmosphere in cardboard boxes or on the streets of Champaign-Urbana is very sad.
Needless to say, this was the most uncomfortable I have ever been. I barely slept, and the thought of having to do this without my fancy clothes, coats, and blankets is both terrifying and heartbreaking. The next morning, we walked to the Time Center for breakfast and began sharing the story of many helping one help many.